everything here is built and employed in such a way that you cannot help but appreciate where it came from and how much sweat and effort went into providing it. And so by the end of my day, when I put my head on the pillow, I'm tired. I am exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally. I've been through a wide range of feelings, a wide range of experiences, things that I've never ever seen or felt before in my life. And I've never felt better about feeling that way when I go to sleep. It's the best, most well-earned sleep I've ever had in my life. And when that board sounds the next morning, I'm ready.
You know, what really brought me here, there had to have been something saying you got in, and then something else working. I had to have done something right somewhere along the lines.
I was expecting Japanese style, kind of 500 years ago, boot camp monasticism where we show up and they shave our heads and they tell us the monastery is full and that maybe they'll take us in a week.
I was really nervous about coming here, but no, it's just, wouldn't change it for the world, you know.
What is this place? How much of it is going to be lecture about how great whatever they're doing is, and how much of it is going to be actual learning about Buddhism and real Buddhist philosophy and meditation? So at first I was kind of like, not really formative in my opinion, but just kind of questioning of how good it's going to be.
When we first came and lined up and did the whole military style thing, I was like, oh, this is what they meant, you know, this is gonna be pretty interesting to have to go through for a whole month.
I guess the picture I had in my mind was something really intense, but in a way very false. That people have an image you'll get something really big, you'll meditate and you'll attain something very deep and all. Then I come here and I see the reality of it, and I see it's more human than what was in my mind, my feeble mind.
That's how I got physically here, but spiritually, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll never know.
I could not get through my day without Tai Chi. It is it's so cleansing and so amazing. It just opens up my body and my mind for a whole new day of experiences.
I study religion in school, which presents like a really particular side of religion. You study texts and you study theory and doctrines. And in fact, what happens when you study it that intensely is you sort of forget that there's anything else to religion. And what this program has really made me remember is that religion is lived by people. It's not just something that you can go get baptized into, ordained into. It's like a family history, it's a cultural history, it's a language, it's a worldview.
It's easy to come to this program believing that you will be able to fit in sufficiently and satisfy the instructors simply by performing the required ritual movements and utterances. But in fact, they're going to be telling you how you should adjust your mind. They're going to ask you to change your beliefs and your very attitudes. Indeed, to alter your personality fundamentally and permanently. That's a very hard thing for most students to accept if they come here for the sake of an anthropological experience rather than on some kind of religious quest. And yet, that is the essence of the anthropological experience they came here to have.
First of all, I have a question that I would like to ask you.
从镜子里可以看到我长什么样子。
We can see what we look like when we look in a mirror.
可是你找到你的心。
But have you found your mind?
科长，问讯。
谢谢老师。我想这个我们有一个很严重的问题，就是在语言沟通上哈，我可能没有办法。
I found useful that the way lots of people told us the first days that you had to empty your cup. So whenever I felt like, oh, I'm tired or something, or I'm not going to listen, I just thought, oh, I'm going to empty my cup and I listen.
Emptiness, or empty, shunyata. Talking about the idea that it is only because all phenomena depend upon causes and conditions that they are able to exist.
Could you talk more about their conversation that all human beings are illusory, but we are still required to save them and to help them?
是不真实的，但是我们还是要救他们。你在讲的道理多讲一点吗？
好。
Okay, in the Heart Sutra, we're looking how there's one translation of it goes emptiness is form. That's how it's translated. But in fact, later on, there's the I character or some other character, which we added, which we said actually is the ness, meaning.
Paradigm of like purity and impurity, like that plays into a lot of philosophy and cultural norms, and I think women were always sort of dealt with in terms of purity and impurity.
That when we come to the women's issue, you have to look at the whole picture of the Vinaya and the Sutra. And you also see there was a discrepancy in the Vinaya and the Sutra as well, as I just mentioned.
A lot of the things we talked about, particularly reading sutras, trying to grasp the cosmology of Buddhism, trying to grasp this very foreign way of life, you don't necessarily have to understand it fully to be able to appreciate it, and also I don't know how to put it into words really. I guess there's a big difference between rationally understanding something and being able to act on it and incorporate it into your life.
Great spirit spell. It is, so that's the literal, is big, bright spell. But remember, this Ming, it means bright in terms of like, wow, the light's really bright, but it also means bright in terms of like, wow, he's really bright, he's really sharp, he's really smart. And
I
so
love the Heart
in
Sutra.
this sense,
I have to say, even though I probably understand, I haven't got any. I certainly haven't Zhao Jianed it. I'll say it that way. Okay, I have not completely understood it.
That the monastery was the opposite of freedom, and that once you're outside the gates, then you're free, and then you're in the real world and everything's crazy. And that really changed for me when we did our meditation up at the shrine. Because I asked the woman who was teaching us why she wanted to become a nun. And she said that she became a monastic because she wanted to be free. She came here because the pressures of marriage and the pressures of family life and functioning the way the world works right now, that was confining, and she came here to find freedom.
Dining hall experience is by far one of the things that I'll take home. Because at home, I have no discipline, so first of all, I'm greedy. Second of all, I'm picky. And third of all, I don't listen to my body, so I just eat. And I eat in front of the TV. I come here, and I really like when they told us at first that we were going to eat in silence, like without talking.
Chanting is not something that I do. I don't speak this language. I don't know this. It's not, indigenous to my person. So how can I come here and chant and go through these motions? And what I found is that maybe ritual doesn't have to have meaning at first, and that the meaning is developed through participation. You just sort of fall into this posture and rhythm and atmosphere and the silence. The silence becomes very natural.
I just have these images of sitting there, my back's kind of hurting, and then completely zoning out and listening to these waves of sounds as people come and sort of just pass by me back and forth and pick up the plates and pick up the chopsticks, and literally just the waves of sound that come back and forth give me goosebumps. Like I think it's incredible. It's what a thing to witness.
That night we were sitting in our Dharma talk and we heard the wind outside just howling. And at first I thought somebody had started up some machine. I had no idea what it was. And then somebody next to me whispered to me, they were like, "Is that the wind?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, it is." And we went outside and the wind was blowing, the air felt cold. And that was the first time since I'd gotten off the plane that the air was cold. When the rains came the next day, it was like nothing I've ever seen. Coming from Kansas, I've seen tornadoes and a lot of very powerful weather, but this typhoon was just so all-encompassing. And then when we went out to help clean up, I didn't see people picking up sticks and leaves. I saw venerable monks and nuns trying to repair their home. And we picked up huge branches and we helped move tree limbs. I haven't truly fully grasped impermanence yet, and so a lot of the things that I'd seen, especially here in this garden, Seeing them fall and be destroyed was hard. Seeing giant trees that took, half a century to grow and just in a moment just wipe out.
What I hear is that the tipping point was the meditation retreat. Everything up until then was sort of preparation and getting people kind of enculturated in the life of the monastery. And then, as far as they were concerned, when they got into the meditation hall, that was when the rubber met the road and the stuff that they had been learning was put into practice.
I'm going into the meditation retreat with the very real, not expectation, but understanding that maybe it'll be 6 days of talking to myself.
It takes a long time, right, to be able to really calm your mind. My mind still wanders, and I think some people are sort of worried about that, but I'm sort of thinking like, it's okay, I'm a beginner, I shouldn't be like a couple times and snap, I can meditate and clear my mind.
So, coming to the retreat then, I guess, I was very gung-ho going into it, and so much so that I vowed to have some sort of satori or like kensho experience. And so, the first day, we only showed up in the evening after some communal labor, and I thought, no matter what, the heck with my body, I will, no matter how much it hurts, I'm gonna sit there and meditate the hardest that I can. And I was sitting in Seiza in one of the last sessions of the day, and my legs really started to hurt, more than they've ever hurt before, and my whole body started to hurt, and it hurt inside my brain, and I decided that I was gonna sit through it, no matter what. That basically, by golly, if Shakyamuni Buddha could sit under the tree and attain enlightenment, then I will sit here and I will push through this. And everything hurt so much that my body started to shake, and I could feel my mudra falling away and myself trying to hold my knees, and I felt my legs trying to pull themselves out from underneath me. And then I realized that I was still holding on to so many things, and I was even kind of holding on to the pain and kind of even getting caught up in it. And it was kind of a wonderful moment, but also a very scary moment, in that you realize, I guess, the demands of it, and basically I see all the things that I have, and I feel that the right thing to do is to maybe not have them and basically do this for real, so to speak. You have to give everything up, and not even so much like my material things, although that's part of it, but you kind of have to give yourself up. And then I remember, the 3 great necessities for Zen, great faith, great determination, and great doubt. And I really felt all those things at that point, and I really felt that, this is really true, this is really what you have to do. And then the clapper sounded and my body shook, and it was over. And it was time to get up, and we did walking meditation or what have you. Maybe it was time for bed, and I went and had a cup of tea or something, and it was over. But everything has been a little bit different since then, and I'm still thinking a lot about it.
In the middle of meditation, I just had this euphoria of happiness and love for everyone, and I opened my eyes and I looked across the room at all the guys, and I was like, I love them all, it doesn't matter. And I realized you have to look at the world that way, and I was just so happy. And we went back to have a break, and we were just laughing, and it's so hard to explain unless you.
This white shirt is quite like a pure mind. Once it is clean, it can be dirty again.
It's one of the things that stresses wealth as a goal.
A goal, yeah.
So it's if you're wealthy, then you're that positive.
It doesn't seem like there's room for personal
I
responsibility.
don't think that what you guys are talking about is necessarily true. It's not wealth, it's the ability to practice the Dharma. Not really the fact that you're poor. If you're poor, you have to worry about what you eat. If you're not poor, you can worry about your spirituality.
Is the ability to practice the Dharma needed?
The one thing that people are most unprepared for when they come, it is authority. Shan is an authoritarian place in the original sense of the word authority. That is, when you come to a Buddhist monastery, the monks and nuns who are here assume that you are coming to learn from the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha. Indeed, that's the entire reason the monasteries exist. I think intellectually they came into it knowing that they were going to have their assumptions challenged. And indeed what's happening in that case is that their most fundamental assumption of all is being challenged, which is that this is all a performance, or it can be thought of as a performance, a sort of lifestyle, rather than accepting a sort of spiritual authority, and not necessarily in an unqualified sense. You're not going to surrender your very autonomy as a person to them, but you are asking them to be a leader or a teacher to you. And you will probably find that the the things that they suggest or ask you to do will take you far outside the confines of what you expected.
And then the pilgrimage, the idea of it, I was like prostrating, all right, I can do that. I wasn't too excited or too unexcited. I thought it was just another thing to do. And then I just completely zoned out until we got to the top of the hill, and I saw them light candles, and I knew that that was just it in terms of that I wouldn't be able to keep my composure, that I suddenly my body went completely numb. And walking up through the center, being at the top with all these venerables, these nuns, which, as I said, are just completely touch me on a level I've never experienced before. And then lighting a candle, and there's something about having one flame and sharing it with another candle and having that be passed on that I think I can't express, but I think it's just beautiful.
Because this environment has touched me in a very personal way, and the austerity of the monastics here is really inspiring to be a better person, to act like a better person, and to live more holistically.
Thinking about going back home and like everything is just gonna be regular, then I think how I'm probably gonna get really frustrated with a lot of things at home, like wastefulness and non-mindfulness, and people not being mindful of each other. I think I'm gonna get pretty frustrated with that.
If I came here and I learned about selflessness and egolessness and working for the environment and being peaceful and working for world peace, that's incredible. But it's hard to go back and to be one person with that perspective and a huge group of people without that perspective. In terms of my mind is quiet and my body is quiet, so how am I to be heard?
Expedient means, because nobody, not me, can really just grasp the truth. You need paths to get you to it. The question is, how do you teach an expedient mean in a way that the people won't get attached to it and will be able to transcend it?
everything else is everything external to you is the same. You get to focus inside more, and honestly, like, I've become really close friends with a lot of people here who I normally wouldn't even approach anywhere else, because everybody's just wearing the same thing and like doing the same things.
Love, kindness, empathy, joy, peace, prevail, universe,
And the people.
we
It's always about people.
cherish,
Religion is only as good as the people it's gonna help.
we have good connections with everyone. This we want.
Thought that we're not really free, like the karma thing, that we're all being moved by forces like the tree being blown by the wind. So that makes me anguished, but then I know that we're also free, completely free. And that's the side that I learned sort of here by just sitting and doing nothing. I realized that my mind was actually something that, well, I felt my mind more. So I just felt more alive by doing nothing, which is weird. So now I'm conciliating both sides, and soon I'm going to be cool with the fact that I'm not free and that I am free, and that'll be a non-dual thing, and then my life will be changed.